Hello, everyone, and we are back after a very short break. Hopefully, everyone has kind of mentally recovered from the thing that just occurred on our screens, but don't even worry about it. It's a new day, it's a new match, and we are moving over to the other side of the world, going from Europe to America. Cynic versus Tremor. Honestly, it's American teams, and one of them will lose today, so America will lose today, which makes me very happy. What also makes me very happy is that I am joined by Jojo, the world's best Yoichi player. How are you doing? How are you feeling?
Good afternoon and good evening. I am doing very well, Edgar. How about you?
I mean, my mental is only slightly destroyed after the plague incident of the 11th of May 2024, which will go down in the books as one of the plays of all time. But it's a new day, and we have an insane series with some insane killers as well. Going to be starting off with Pinhead, the Cenobite himself, Cynic versus Trauma. Cynic versus Tremor. We saw Trauma just play Cynic versus Tremor. I had a bit of a question for you here. Tremor's killer, they are going to be running both Rapid Brutality and Bamboozle, so going for this more chase-centric build, versus the Cynic killer, who is going to be running all slow down, no shenanigans, nothing like that. Which of these kind of matchups do you favor, and why?
Well, if it's a pinhead, regression on him is just kind of really good because your M2 range is like half the map on some maps. But I feel like chasing is also a very valid build because, you know, your chase power is, provided you can land hooks, of course, insane. As for which one I would personally rather go against, I would probably say the looping one.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, well, that's what we're going to have to see. There's also the argument of whether a character really needs chase perks. That's why we don't really see chase perks on killers like, Nurse or Blight or anything like that. It's like, well, they're so good in chase with their base power already that just give them more regression. And regression is key. That's the main objective to deal with. So two very different philosophies coming into the Pinhead set. Going to be seeing which one prevails today. And we also have our Blight set as well. We were able to see some Blight earlier today in our very first match, I believe. Nightlight putting on an absolute clinic on that guy. There was a bit of a bug where the Blight turned invisible, kind of overpowered if you ask me, but oh well, happens to the best of us. No real shenanigans here. What is going to make the difference between these Blight players, do you think, Jojo?
I have to think about that for a second.
Well, that's fair. Well, we can also discuss how, because Blight is such a strong killer, everyone here is likely to see much stronger perks that's going to be coming out.
Yeah.
So you can see on both these teams that they are putting some more survival-based perks on their Deliverance players. That is kind of the main key, playing around the person with Deliverance, simply because the amount of pressure that you can relieve by having your Deliverance survivor get that initial unhook and then get themselves off the hook is, it's so strong and so powerful against a killer as oppressive as the Blight.
Of course. So the only difference in the two Blight's perks is Pop and Eruption, and I think since, Cynical, well, both teams will be running Deliverance that set, I think Pop is just better against Deliverance, period. But that doesn't mean Eruption is bad or anything, it's just an alternative that I don't think is as good, although still perfectly viable.
Yeah, of course. And then if we do end up having the tiebreaker, we get to see once again the unknown, the silly, goofy, and very handsome new killer that's been added over to Dead by Daylight. I just kind of want to talk about the entertainment. I'm not sure if it's just me, Jojo, but I feel like Unknown is always such an entertaining set to watch. The amount of things that this killer can do. You have a chase power, which is good but not great. You have the teleports, which can be chaotic and make the survivors think. There's so much room for potential play on both the sides. My simple question is, are you excited to maybe see an Unknown set today?
Oh, absolutely. I mean, I have to admit, I haven't seen too much Pro Unknown gameplay, but that's mostly on me not having too much time to watch lately. I think Unknown's definitely very interesting. Like you said, there are a lot of things that Killer can do, and Very fun to watch visually, of course, but also the mind games and, you know, lining up that projectile like any other projectile killer is a skill very worth honing, to say the least.
Of course. Well, we have taken up enough of your time here in the campfire chat. Thank you so much, ladies and gentlemen, and thank you so much, Jojo, for hopping on the mic with me now. This is our last set of the day, Cynic versus Tremor. Everyone's ready. We'll be back very shortly to get right into it. And quite literally, the moment we come in, Wispy has already found the box. Don't ask what the survivors did after that. I don't think we're allowed to talk about it on stream. As we mentioned, Wispy is going to be running out here with an interesting chase-centric kind of build. I guess the idea here is that if you can find that box and keep rotating it and keep this chain hunt active, that is slowed down enough, and you can just focus instead on ending these chases as soon as humanly possible. But you need to get your hit in through first, and Ultra is already going to be find that box to stop the chain hunt, as well as the protection that's attempting to come through onto Julian does throw Wispy for a little bit of a loop, as a lot of time has actually been taken off here. There's also the concept of, with rapid brutality, a lot of killers will get punished for it because of not being able to get bloodlust. However, you're using your power so often in chase as a pinhead to reset it that it doesn't really matter. You will just take that initial speed burst and go from there. It is a net buff, along with having the bamboozle on that window as well. You get the chains here, but it's not enough to prevent the vault through, and Julian is still going to be living, still going to be running.
The rapid brutality is definitely interesting. I personally haven't seen that perk too much generally, but like, it does seem very good on Pinhead, like you said. Nia coming in for the protection hit, takes it. It looks like Wispy is going to continue chasing Tap around main. Dead Dog main, known for being kind of awful toward killers in general, of course. I think this is a down here, unless balanced. There you go.
Yeah, well, there we have it. Unfortunately, Julian doing his best tap dancing on the tables routine, but it wasn't enough. Wispy had kind of had enough of that. Initial hook is going to be coming through. Would like this to be a Scourge hook because you can probably prevent, a gen like this from being completed at the very last second. And yeah, there we are. That's going to be a big lot of regression there as well. Angels is also going to be solving the box. Wispy wants to get this long-range chain to shut it down. And how's your aim? Not quite good enough. You could think maybe there's the potential for a TP there. Angels is the injured survivor, not exactly the ideal one to be solving the box, but Wispy's priorities lies very much with Julian right now, sticking right here, sticking on top of the David to remove him from the game as fast as possible. Likely just going to be sticking around here until second stage, so it'll be interesting to have a think about where these survivors might be and what pressure they might be applying.
Yeah, definitely. I have to say, if that hook on Angels landed, that would have been the curve of the century. But yeah, like you said, just kind of focusing on getting Julian out of the game, totally understandable. Looks like they're doing main. I wonder if Wispy is looking for a 3-gen already. I haven't quite been able to tell yet.
It's something to consider. Of course, Julian now going to be hitting second stage, and Wispy thinking, okay, well now this is the time to go bully someone else out, wait for the unhook to come through, and then circle back onto Julian. It seems to be kind of the standard play for most of these M1 style killers, which is get your early hook, get it to second stage, and then wait for the unhook, tunnel them out. You can see Wispy just hovering like a security camera right now, and yeah, it's right on to Julian. He's actually going to be trying to aim the chain there to apply the deep wound with the original pain add-on, but it's not going to be working. Instead, it's going to be the hit onto Wancy as well. And yeah, this allows Julian to make some distance, but remember that with rapid brutality, Wispy can shut this distance down very quickly. And if you can get another chain right here, Julian's life might be in tatters, might be in ruin, might be in a whole heaping of pain.
That being said, Ultra does have a flashlight, so it looks like Wispy is going to have to force them away. Or Wispy's just going to chase them. Okay. Nope, going back to the downed Julian, it looks like they will be out of the game. Unless there's a crazy save, but it doesn't look like it. Box is being solved, and that's a dead tap.
Well, there we have it, and that's a kill coming out with 3 gens remaining, which is very early. Oftentimes, when you're seeing this tunnel out, the kill comes in often around when there are 2 gens left, so getting it at 3 is actually fairly significant, and now you're also going to have the ability to continue piling on the pressure with these Scourge hooks. That is the issue with the tunnel out strategy, not able to get that value, and a lot of gens will fly by the time you end up getting your kill, and that's actually some very nice play coming out there from Angels with the whoever it was with the flashlight. Angels Ultra, indistinguishable at this point, but actually forcing the kill to be looking away and not allowing them to hit the chains as they would like to. You can see the impaling wire trying to get value here. Every time that a chain breaks in the environment, a new one is going to be summoned, but Wancy having a little bit too much wherewithal for that. And Wispy sure as hell not caring and getting the hit through anyway, and finally can continue to apply the pressure.
Yeah, I have to say that hit on that fast vault was kind of crazy. I was expecting that to whiff. Getting the blind, obviously not going to just feed them the free unhook. Main has been finished. I always find that's one of the safer gens, so not having that in your 3 gen is always, scary, I suppose, is how I would put it. That's how I feel about it, anyway.
Of course, and what's a pretty scary situation right now is being one of these survivors, and this is where Pinhead can get very oppressive. When you have 4 survivors in the game and you can, keep one who's assigned to the box at all times and the rest are pressuring gens or taking chase, it's really not so bad. But when there are 3, suddenly that extra objective becomes near insurmountable. So it'll be interesting to see how these survivors seek to manage all of the things that they have on their to-do list. They have Wancy's timer going down while they have a box to solve, while they also have the gens to complete. For some teams, they could crumble under that sort of pressure. But right now, it seems to be very reliably done, patiently played. Ultra's going to be the one here pressuring the unhook, and Angels is going to be the one pressuring the gens. Wispy deciding which of these am I going to pressure is going to be the generator. And this does buy time for Ultra to get the save onto Wancy. Is that going to be coming through? Maybe sooner rather than later.
Good fast vault. Just looks like Wispy's going back to the hook. Wancy has been unhooked and Wispy is quite nearby, so this could potentially be a tunnel out of the game, but it doesn't look like it's going to be easy with Ultra right there looking to protect Wancy. Going to this tile, it looks like... Okay, there's still a pallet there, so perhaps not all is well, but it's looking better than it would have,
Oh! The attempt came through there for the lunge through Ultra. That would have been very close, very nice, but didn't work out. Wancy made some distance, but it wasn't enough, and Wispy now has the opportunity to apply pressure to this top gen on the gallows as well. Let this be a death sentence for the Nia as that hit. Oh, very clever Angels. Gonna be clicking the flashlight there. A little bit of an indication of, I'm better. Ultra also actually going to be hit there, and that's the slowdown from the original pain, and the flashlight save not able to come through without a whole heap of risk here for Angels. Could this be a gargantuan beef coming out from the survivors?
I think it very well may be, Edgar. Going for the vault again, I don't think Wispy's going to let them get away scot-free. This time that is a down. Wancy has been picked up though. Ultra's still in deep wound. I'm not too sure how much that matters, but I suppose we'll see. Just slugging Angels, gonna go...
Oh no, the chain hunt!
Yeah, the box hasn't been finished in long enough. That's really bad when you only have 2 people up.
The box. You
immediately teleporting to this. Let's see if Wispy can get the down. Yep. Wow, that was just unfortunate.
Hello, it is me, Pinhead. I live in your walls. That is all. And now Wancy is going to be the golden goose, the one that Wispy wants to secure here. Does get the late pickup onto the Nia, and so suddenly now you have 2 survivors. But again, these survivors, they can't really stick around and do a whole heap of nothing. And you know that Wancy has ran right over to Ultra, but instead of actually committing for that, Wispy going to play it safe, get the hook here, and accept Ultra is going to be picked up off the floor. Potentially a patient play for Wispy, especially because it is securing another fresh hook, another potential 3 stages, but it is maybe a little too patient, maybe even careful from the side of Wispy.
Definitely. both of the remaining survivors standing are both at main, and it looks like Wispy is on the prowl. I do not believe they are having any luck yet, but that could change very soon, of course. Both of them being injured, they are louder, and working on a generator. I have to imagine, will they even try for the unhook? Surely they will, right?
I mean, this is just about kind of minimizing your losses, right? Then it seems like Wancy is going to try and pressure out that gen. However, because the original pain landed, that's going to be an extra couple seconds of the mending timer that's going to be ticking down as Wispy. Again, you can see the kind of creativity that Pinhead players use with the power, where you not only have it in chase to be a semi-reliable option to get quick, faster downs, but also as a ability to just be a security camera. Just look everywhere all at once, have eyes everywhere. At this point, Wispy is the information perk with this power. Simple as that.
Yeah, that's one of the benefits of Pinhead. Like I said at the beginning of the match, your M2 just has so much range that you can just use it as a scouting tool if you want, and it's a really good use of it too. Just being able to see so much that you normally wouldn't be able to, even with perks.
Yeah, it seems like Angels is going to be dying here. Going the way of the Dodo, going to Valhalla, whatever the hell you want to call it, but probably not that latter one, for obvious reasons. Gonna take time to pressure out the box here, which you kind of have to be doing if you're Wancy. And yeah, Wispy's patient play seems to be playing off. We were questioning it earlier, however, it has secured Angels, you know, all the way from, I believe that was just one hook all the way to death. No real interruption there, because both these lives are injured, trying to split up on gens, trying to keep on top of the box, and yeah, 3v1s against Pinhead. Even at the best of times, never going to be fun. And what was that shot, Wispy? You're a little bit of a nutcase. Is that going to effectively mean a lot? No, other than a couple of extra seconds of mending. But it was damn stylish, and that's what we live for here in DBDLeague. Speaking of living, Wancy is going to not be living for very long, stuck in a bit of a tenuous position here. And that's going to be the down, and now it's time for Wispy to just run it at Ultra. And Ultra doesn't really have the ability to just safely hide. You have that deep wound on you, and this is why so many Pinhead players love at this level to run that original pain add-on, simply because that extra slowdown, the extra time where you need to force the survivors to be still, to be doing something that isn't healing their teammates, isn't doing a generator, isn't going for an unhook. It can all add up, and Wispy's pressure has surmounted into something absolutely ridiculous right here.
Yeah, definitely. It's really rough with both of those add-ons. They're just super duper good. It definitely looks like Ultra is about to go down. Yep.
There we are.
I couldn't even finish my sentence. That looks like the game. Very solid performance by Wispy, I have to say. Exceptional Pinhead gameplay coming out. I am excited to see how Cynic will match this. Personally.
Yeah, I mean, this is a pretty good result. Anytime where you can 4K with 2 gens remaining is going to be a pretty good killer result. You do have to consider that Pinhead is considered a bit more of a kind of middling killer as far as our balance is concerned. Not quite high tier, not quite low tier, so you are it's relatively generous perks you're allowed, and also the fact that you do go to the Dead Dog Saloon, which is always going to be a strong killer map. There's a kind of a variety of results that we end up seeing, and it'll be interesting to see whether the killer in the next round is going to match it. Stay tuned, we'll be back after a short break, and it will be the turn of the next team to play killer.
Good morning, good evening, and good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Today we have Ultra here on Pinhead, immediately finding the box again, just like last match. Now, I don't think I said anything about it last time, but I do have to say, playing on one of the smallest maps in the game as Pinhead is just so nice. As a Pinhead player, I have to say, immediately getting a hook on Nia, whiffs the M1 somehow, but manages to get another hit.
Yeah, and with the perk add-on, with the perk choices that we have here, Ruin Undying as the method of regression alongside the Scourge hooks. And this works well on Pinhead especially because you are so easily able to harass survivors off of those gens, and immediately we're going to be seeing a very early down and then a very early hook here, which should probably be converted into either a Scourge hook or even was a basement hook for Ultra here. Ultra, of course, will be killing for Cynic here. The condition that was met last time by Wispy on the Tremor side was a 4K with 2 gens remaining, so that is what we're going to be looking for Ultra to match or beat today. It is a semi-common occurrence, however, when you're having a start as strong as Ultra getting your early basement hook, then it certainly helps you out in that regard.
Yeah, definitely. I would say that this basement hook is particularly brutal because Pinhead can just look into the basement from very far away, especially on, again, such a small map like this where he can just put his M2 down. Wow, that was an impressive curve, I have to say. Like, wow.
Yeah, I'm glad we know all about that. That's Ultra going to continue to harass these gens, and this is the thing, you're able to stick on top of the basement as Pinhead while keeping all these gens in check with the Ruin and the Undying, which are still both up, by the way. Remember that if the survivors do end up wanting to cleanse that, that's going to take them even more time away. Meanwhile, Wispy is going to be hitting second stage, and Ultra thinks, okay, well, I have the potential to maybe start chasing out the ace, and yeah, is going to finally commit to it. Window of opportunity for Wispy to get unhooked from the basement as Ultra commits to this, but the chains simply locking Horn up for too long, a little too late. And that's actually going to be a stray chain coming out there from the summoning wire to slow down Horn even more, but is just going to pop the original pain on, get that deep wound timer, and now has caught out Wispy in a really rough position, and actually going to be dunking. That is disgusting. That's disgusting. Using the original pain to remove the endurance so that the hook can come through. And Wispy was trying to consider getting that onto a Scourge hook, but is just going to take the kill. And ladies and gentlemen, we have a kill with 5 gens remaining. That is absurd.
Yeah, it's rough. This is why people hate original pain playing against it, I mean, because you can just do that if you want. It is a very good add-on, but I do also have to say, again, especially as someone who plays Pinhead, that add-on is kind of BS.
Yeah, I mean, Pinhead's an interesting killer in a lot of ways, right? The ability to instantaneously tunnel someone off the hook is certainly up there of interesting things. Now, he's going to be going around here to try and... Yeah, he's going to be going around here. Actually, you can see some value coming out of Undying. It does have that special effect of the aura reading. Now, it wasn't worth a whole lot. Yao was able to get that life off and then run for the hills. Buy some time for the rest of the team to work on some gens here. But again, this is the issue with the original pain. With Haunt being injured up, is going to have to mend that, mean that they can't be working on the gen, and it is going to continuously run down due to Ruin. And every single time that one of these, chains come out, again, that is time that Haunt has to spend mending up before being able to actually fully commit to that gen. Zaphis on this side also going to be pressured out. This Ruin Undying combo is absolutely lethal, and ideally you'd have a 4th survivor who's looking for it, getting rid of it, but you don't have that luxury anymore. They got absolutely murdered in the basement.
Yeah, nope, sure don't, because with how early that basement hook was, it's going to be rough afterward, no matter what you do, it's going to be rough. Even if you manage to get them out of basement, somebody's probably going down for such a thing.
Yeah, long range snipe. It's another original pain! This is just Mending Simulator 2024! Dead by Daylight is no more! Welcome to the Mending game! Released, 5 minutes ago when Ultra came out with this build. Jesus Christ. And now we're also going to have the box, which needs to be solved as well. Even more value that Ruin can get. Ruin is looking like how it was in 2018, 2019 right now. Jesus Christ.
Yeah, a little bit. It's kind of freaky. I have to say, yeah, again, I think the original pain is a little bit overtuned, but it is such a strong add-on is definitely making the difference, wasting so much freaking time all the time as well. It's constant. It's like Legion almost.
Yeah, that is going to be another gen finally pressured out by Zaphis. Jar does give their life for it. I am interested to know how much progress is now on that saloon generator. It is a fair bit, actually, and if they can... If the survivors are able to bully this one out before that hook can come through, there it is, there's the pain resonance at the worst timing imaginable. And guess what? Guess what, Horn? Did you enjoy mending? Did you enjoy the last 5 times that you had to get off your gen and let Ruin regress it while you were mending? Well, now you get to do it again! Horn is having the day of his life right now. Just
Yep.
very, very fun.
Yep, very fun. Mending simulator, really enjoying himself. Yeah, like,
Allegedly.
it's just pain, man. I guess you could say it's original pain.
I mean, yeah, that's what Pinhead's all about, right? I guess this is just lore accurate Pinhead. But Zaphis is actually applying some very good pressure to this gen here, and it doesn't really seem like Pinhead realizes it. Is finally going to be pressuring it out, and now Ultra has a bit of a predicament to work with. You have a hook to defend, and you also have these 2 gens up high as well. You really aren't applying a lot of pressure to Zaphis, who's kind of free to just get back to this gen. It was so progressed that it could just be finished here. No, finally is going to be forced out as Jar does also hit that second stage. I mean, this is a world in which maybe you know, I don't know, get that chain to hit and maybe inflict some original pain. That's what we like to see. And now that gen is not going to be worked on for the next 3 to 5 working days. And especially because a really clean hit is actually going to be coming through. So very well played there by Ultra. Now has a kind of approximate location on where the survivors are. Knows that unhook came through not too long ago. Can see where these gens are at as well. And now you know that Jar has just picked up the box as well. This is a really rough spot for the survivors to be in.
What? Yeah, what just happened?
Right, okay, well now Horn has to mend. Jar has a box, has to try and solve it at some point. Zaphis is on the ground. There's a partridge in a pear tree. There's like a million different things happening. Pickup does end up coming through onto Zaphis as well. Jar able to kind of delay the box for a little bit, but instead does get caught out with it and is chained up at this loop as well. Has dropped the pallet and does have also maybe a little bit of speed to work with, but is on death hook and yeah, caught out again. Oh, this is going from bad to worse for these survivors.
Yeah, well, at least that salute gen might be finished soon, finally. Maybe, of course. You know, Haunt could be inflicted with mend again, you never know. Just leaving Jaw on the floor, perfectly understandable considering the other 2 are injured. Looks like Haunt's gonna go in for the pickup while, Zaphis is being chased. Just gets pulled out of a locker to buy time, presumably. Perfectly understandable considering the situations are... The straits are dire, you know?
Yeah, I mean, there's still some very good pressure that's coming out through these gens, but the fact that Ruin Undying has been kind of allowed to be up for so long is slightly absurd. You gotta think at some point, a survivor's gonna shift their focus from, you know, finding the Ruin Undying versus just bullying through the gens. Because the bully the gen strategy, they've been trying it for a while now, and I'm going to tell you a little secret here, Jojo. It hasn't been working, and Ultra is still winning out. Haunt trying to buy time right now. Is this a case of Jar is going to be going over for the unhook, and this is even more time that will be spent, you know, lowering... That is even more time that is going to be spent letting these gens regress. Very interesting there. Why did Ultra not opt to teleport there to... You know, you had one survivor on the floor, one survivor on the hook, and the other survivor holding the box, and opting to not TP. I guess you just don't need it. I guess Ultra's just better. I apologize.
Yeah, I guess he really doesn't. It's... Like, I'm kind of at a loss for words for Ultra's performance this game, you know? It's like he's thinking...
That's the word to sum it up. Yeah, I mean, I thought Skull Merchant was the chest killer, but no, it seems like right now that is Pinhead, and Haunt is going to be the one to get chased down here. Now, there is always the potential of the there is always the potential of the escape via the hatch, but provided that all the survivors are down, Gens is the first look. Gens is going to be the first focus for any set, any tiebreaker, anything like that. So simply by virtue of finishing the game with having only 2 generators completed as opposed to 3, well, that's it. And it seems like, provided that there isn't some gargantuan level of beef here, that is going to be the win here secured for Cynic.
Yeah, like I said, I was just kind of at a loss for words for how good Ultra was playing that entire match. That was just very solid by Ultra. A 4K at 3 gens left. Wow. It just felt like he could see the future, you know?
Yeah, there was also a lot of faith on the Rune Undying, and I've drawn attention to it already, but the survivors' priorities were, okay, well, we're just going to bully this through. They lost their man early, and that strategy just doesn't work anymore. It's alright to bully the gens when you have a 4th person who's constantly able to occupy, buy time, to goof the kill around a little bit, but when you only have 2 people who can work on the gens at any different time, who are constantly injured, who are constantly having to mend, while there's another survivor who is kind of actively being harassed by the killer as well, it's an unworkable position. But congratulations to Ultra, and congratulations to Tremor. Sorry, no, not Tremor, Cynic. I get it confused, don't worry about it. Congratulations to Cynic for taking that first win here today. Going to be moving over to the Blight in our next match. What do we expect to see there?
I never know with Blight, really. I honestly cannot give you an answer other than he will be Blight.
And it feels like the kind of makeup of DBDL comp has changed. After every single season, the ability to balance gets better and better and better. And suddenly, you are seeing some insane results. You're seeing 4Ks at 4 gens, but you are also seeing total 4-man escape, so maybe 2 stages against Blights as well. It's a whole lot of variation. After a short break, we are going to be with you for that. We're going to be with you for that Blight set. Cynic currently 1-0 up, looking to make it 2-0. We'll see whether they can do that very shortly. Osaka has got an ice pick in hand and is ready to make some magic with it right now. It is going to be Osaka from the side of Cynic, trying to secure the 2-0 after a very strong performance from their teammate on the pinhead earlier today. And right now we can already see a down in about, as long as it took me to finish, about 2 sentences, which might set the tone for the rest of this series, Jojo.
Yeah, like I said, Blight's kind of a wild card. It can go any which way, but a lot of the time it does go this way. And let's see if it continues going this way, huh? What if, you know, maybe Osaka throws a curveball and starts doing worse. You never know.
Yeah, so for someone of Osaka's talent, someone who's being brought in specifically to play the Blight, that would be a struggle, especially having the Blighted Rat and Blighted Crow add-ons to simply get even faster every single time a rush is used, along with a pretty standard slowdown build. We were able to see on the pinhead simply how much value the Rune Undying was able to get, and with Osaka, as that hit comes so slow, just barely missing there. You also see the idea of the fact that you can pressure out several gens very quickly. You don't even need to be getting your hits on the survivors. Simply showing up near them, forcing them off, is going to give you that passive slowdown. It is kind of working within the requirements that Blight is forced to deal with for being such a strong kill. There are a lot of restrictions. That's why you're not going to see things like Pain Resonance, why you're not going to see things like Pop Goes the Weasel being played here. Osaka continuing to run this one through, and that's Haunt going down again. That is already a second hook, and no gens yet done to compensate. Decisive Strike. Yep, Decisive Strike is going to be there. 4-second stun. Going to see how long Haunt's going to be able to make of that. It's going to be dunking the God Palette bog standard stuff, and he's going to be getting 2 gens for that as well as the life, and this is really great. Oftentimes against Blight, you know that you're not really going to be able to stay alive for all that long, so any ounce of time that you can get with things like your decisive strike, with things like your life, can be very beneficial.
Yeah, for certain. I could be wrong, but are they potentially 3-genning themselves right now? That's what it looks like to me in the distance.
I mean, again, this is a map that can lend itself to that 3 gens. The 3 gens can work on this map. I believe the suffocation pit that we're on, the idea that, again, you have this bottleneck in the middle of the map that you kind of have to overcome here. But we're going to be seeing where the 3 gen does come out as Wispy. Bit of locker gaming right now. Again, you're also allowed some pretty strong, powerful items and add-ons. You can see right here, Wispy is kind of the one assigned to save, and you can tell based off the perks you have Leader to do actions like that just a little bit faster. You already have your Deliverance Survivor who's done that. You also have the heal so that you're able to take a hit while unhooking and then maybe get out, live another day. Horn is going to be saved up here. Wispy going to go down for the trade, but that is another 2 or so minutes of hang time. Asaka not going to take that. Is just going to want to get Horn out of this game nice and quickly. And nice life. You're against a Blight. You basically made about 0 meters of distance.
Well, that's true. It also doesn't get hooked in the base.
Flashlight save!
Oh, and there it is, yeah, flashlight save.
Wow. Well, Jar is absolutely balling right now, putting some immense pressure, again, delaying this death onto Horn as much as humanly possible. You can't delay forever, but now is on a pallet, and Asaka has to be very paranoid of the pick right now, because you just know that there is going to be a survivor waiting in the wings, ready to get this save. But actually, yeah, is going to be Zaphis over here.
Oh my goodness.
And into the smash hit as well. Oh my god. I mean, you'd say this is bullying. However, Blight is such a strong killer that realistically, yeah, who really cares about the bullying right now? And this pressure is so immense that Asaka's actually had to drop the chase onto Horn just to pressure out these gens. That's the hallmark of a superb performance on Survivor.
Yeah, really, I mean, you say bullying, but this is competitive if you win and it's not cheating, of course. But, yeah, like, playing against Blight is just kind of an art when you do it well, I have to say. Especially on a map like this that's so open, like big, yeah. Wispy going down, that, I believe that's the first hook since they didn't get hooked. Oh my...
What? Asaka's stick just gained like a couple of meters or something there. Poking Horn, forcing him out, and again, this is the one that you want. Even though Wispy is down, Asaka literally could not care less. I don't want to hook Wispy. I don't want a woman like Wispy. I don't want a woman like Horn. I want Horn, you know, kind of situation. So still trying to bully this out as the Ruin and Undying are both gone now. So the pressure that can come out onto these other gens is pretty immense, especially with that extra deja vu speed that Zafia is going to be taking advantage of in the meanwhile. Asaka now is spread quite thin.
Yeah, definitely, and this doesn't look like a very bad final 3 gens at all for the survivors. I mean, they're all on the same side of the map, but one of them is significantly farther away from the other 2, and although it is still Blight, it's not like he can literally teleport between them, like Freddy or something.
Yeah.
Going to see if... Oh, just kind of breaking pallets at the moment. They saw Zaphis for a moment, and...
Holy hell! Pallet Simulator 2024!
Yeah.
Okay, if the last game was Mending Simulator, this is Pallet Simulator right now. But against a Blight the caliber of Asaka, what can you really do? That being said, the Survivors have done a phenomenal job in kind of adapting to this performance. Now everyone is healthy. There are only, 2 hooks onto Horn. That's about it. For Asaka, you're really looking at how can you minimize your losses right now. You don't feel confident that you're going to be able to hold on to all these gens, but if you can maybe get another fresh hook, camp them out to 3 extra stages, that might give your team the edge that you need to win.
Yeah, definitely. One generator left with only 2 hooks on one person is definitely not oh my goodness, the mid-rush flashbang coming out and successfully blinding Osaka. Zaphis does not get hit as a result of that. That was a very good flashbang from them.
Yeah, you have absolutely no idea what hit you there. If you're Osaka, you're going to be returning to this gen over here. But again, as you say, Blight is very effective at pressuring out gens. However, you cannot get between them instantaneously. You are going to be hopping into the locker to avoid the hit right now. Delay the fate just a little bit longer again. Delay, delay, delay. It's all that you can really be doing against the Blight. As Osaka forced once again to check on this gen over on the other side of the map. He's going to get a little bit lucky in case that skill check did show up the moment that Osaka actually came to check on the gen, and so that is going to be some free regression. Yeah, it's only a couple of percentage points, but that can make all the difference at this stage of the game, as it is just still going to be going back and forth between these generators. Looking for a survivor over here right now is going to be Wispy, the one chased up. Remembering that Haunt is the target that Osaka really wants, but at this point, this stage in the game, you can't exactly afford to be fussy unless you're able to get him now. And even then, at this late stage, getting Haunt wouldn't even be an ideal play. That would only be one extra stage, and the idea of getting that kill out of the game isn't going to be worth a whole lot when all the gens are done anyway, you know? So, actually looking for a fresh survivor to get some extra stages, and Haunt just wasting as much time as possible. Clinical survivor play. Yes, Haunt might be dying here, but Haunt has died with honor and with duty.
Yeah, I do have to say, incredibly solid performance by those survivors this match. I'm still thinking about that flashbang mid-rush.
Nope.
They're all healthy. I don't think anything's gonna happen here. I think, yeah, they're all just going to get out. Excellent,
oh my!
Excellent display by the survivors that match. What did you think, Edgar?
I mean, that's a hell of a win con. That is 3 stages, and that is it. So on the killer side, all that Tremor will need are 4 hook stages, and they have won that and take us to a loss and take us to that tiebreaker on the unknown. I mean, yeah, I have a feeling that that's going to happen. But anything can happen in competitive Dead by Daylight. So join us after a very short break where we are going to be seeing Tremor take their turn killing on the Blight.
Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening, ladies and gentlemen. We are back at it again with yet another exciting Dead by Daylight League Blight match. With Wispy on Blight this time, immediately getting into a chase with Aki here. Edgar, you were talking about how the differences in the Blight's builds matter a lot. Would you care to elaborate now that we have seen both of them in action?
At this point, I wouldn't say there's a whole lot to be discussing about that, to be perfectly honest. The only distinction is the Pop Goes the Weasel versus the Eruption. The Eruption is a little bit better for split pressure, but personally, one might rate Pop Goes the Weasel a little bit higher. I believe you had a comment about kind of the interaction with Deliverance as well. But the main point that we're talking about, as the Undying is going to be already, is that Osaka played Killer just now for the Cynic side and struggled, to put it bluntly. Only 3 hook stages, only 1 fresh hook, every generator completed. So here, literally all that's this Tremor killer needs to do to tie up this series is just get at least 4 hook stages, and that is it. As we are going to be getting Angels out of a locker, and so that's already won with no gens to exchange for it.
I do have to say that whole circus act with the pallets and the flashlight there was very entertaining.
Incredibly so.
Finding Ace near the hook, just going for the unhook in front of the killer, apparently. Immediately going back on the Angels. Can Wispy get the down so soon? I wonder. Let's find out.
Yeah, we are approaching the 10-second mark, so that is going to be the endurance and the haste wearing off. Still a pallet here to work with. Wispy deciding not to brute force this, instead going to wrap around, and by a sliver, by just a hair missing out there. Going to be downing Wancy, but again, not even really playing for that, 4-stage win condition. Is instead just going to continue to hunt down Angels, go for that tunnel out. Get Angels into the basement and maybe just see what happens from there. Probably a win. It's not like 4 stages is a particularly horrific margin to try and deal with. But Wancy is going to get picked up, so you're not going to be able to get an extra one there. But, I mean, again, it would take an absolutely monumental Herculean effort for these survivors to win out here.
Yeah, they would basically have to play almost perfectly for the rest of the match, and, we're only human. That's rarely feasible. Getting into a chase on this hill near Shack. Wancy is going to drop Shack pallet. I feel like Wispy could have swung through that, but I'm not the one playing, so I'm not going to comment too much on their gameplay.
Okay, well, Angels was hiding in the basement, and Wispy just had that sixth sense, had the knowledge that they were going there. Now hopping into the locker, trying to wait out the power, but don't get the timing quite right. And,
unless there's a flash save, I think that's just game, Edgar.
Yeah, and I think Wancy was the one who went for that flash save. And so Angel is going to be put in here, and then Wancy is going to be followed up. That's going to be the 4 stages, and then Wispy can quite literally sit in a corner and cry, or have a pizza, or call his parents, or anything for the rest of the match, and that's the win that comes through. However, Wispy is going for blood here. Still doesn't want to do that, wants to send a statement here. Despite having only a single perk to work with, on account of both the Ruining, Undying, and the Corrupt being gone, wants to send a message right now, wants to put on a little bit of a show for us, ladies and gentlemen, and who doesn't love a show?
I love me a good show, and a show Wispy is providing. Looping around this tile with the boxes, I always feel scared when I'm running these against Blight, personally. I mean, that may just be me, but, I always feel like he's just gonna do some crazy rush around it. Ace coming in, is much going to happen from it? Who knows?
Interestingly enough, the survivors haven't actually lost yet. Currently, there is still the potential to tie. All 3 stages still come out onto the 1 survivors. If they're all able to escape and no more hook stages end up going their way, then it will be a tie. That being said, Tremor a little bit too on top of that. Wispy a little bit too on top of that. Just needs to put acid on a hook, or again, just won't. We'll just stall things out, delay. As much time as you want, big lad. Just go for it.
That is another down onto Wancy. Okay, finally going for the hook that will win them the game.
And there we are, that's the win. Finally secured here for Wispy. Yeah, has both these survivors. He's going to put them both on the hook. Then going to be looking to hunt down Julian. Going to be a hell of a time to figure out what Julian does actually come in to get the pull, but being a little bit deceptive there. Just kind of faking it and...
Oh my goodness.
Giving him a kiss on the lips as he goes through the window there. Holy hell. That got a bit close for comfort there. Holy. Wispy is going to be, just dashing, bouncing around the entire map at this point, trying to zone out Julian on this pallet. Does eventually get the hit. And that is a dominant performance. A very clean, strong win here for Wispy. For Wispy on the Tremor side, meaning that we are going to be going over to our tiebreaker set, which is going to be the unknown.
Well, I guess the deliverance came out.
There's a okay, there's a deliverance.
Yeah, I am excited for those unknown matches, but we do still have the rest of this game to see, even if, someone's already won it.
Yeah, well, Julian actually going to be kind of juking and dodging for a little while now, but is zoned out. It isn't close enough to this hook to actually get the unhook, is just going to be playing Shaq now. We see a little bit of a 1v1, so for anyone who is interested in maybe, you know, signing up in the DBDLeague 1v1 tournament, then you get a bit of a taste here. I'm not entirely sure whether Blight's playable there. I'm not entirely sure whether I'm just kind of filling for content right now because the game ended about 5 minutes ago, but still, that's a clean hit, clean down. Just even had here's the thing, right? Even if the Cynic side had set a strong killer performance, this is still a 4K with 3 gens remaining for Wispy, and the survivors weren't exactly throwing. They were trying this whole time. So Wispy kind of had this series on lock regardless.
Yeah, definitely. It's... I mean, I've been saying it a lot today, but I do have to say a very solid performance from Wispy. Like, wow.
Strong play. That's what we like to see. Strong play. Big play in Dead by Daylight. We'll be back after a very short break, and then these teams are going to chop it up on the Unknown, the newest killer in the game. We'll be back shortly. What is that? It's the Unknown, and it is the average American player who is currently being represented by the Unknown, as you do. It bears a striking resemblance, dare I say. I don't like America, in case you couldn't tell. Anyway, Wispy is going to be starting off here, getting a nice early hit onto the Jake. And does have that weakened applied, and is actually just going to be connecting, and simple as that is going to be the down. Okay. That being said, the Unknown still does have eyes, which is a problem, because it means that you can be blinded.
I've always wondered how they blind the Demogorgon. But
Magic,
anyway,
don't even worry about it.
Check pallet's already dropped this early into the game, and I mean, it is there to be used, of course, it exists to be used, but this early with almost no benefit, that's never good. Going for the teleport, finding a survivor and getting a... I just now realized he's using Pentimento. That is interesting, but I respect it.
Well, we've spoken about this before, and this seems to be the kind of generally settled upon perk setup for the Unknown. With the Pentimento Ruin Undying, if you want to get rid of Ruin Undying, you have to get rid of at least 2 hexes, 2 totems, which means 2 opportunities for that Pentimento, for that permanent slowdown, meaning that you have 3 options. 1, deal with the Ruin. Number 2, deal with Pentimento. 3, get rid of all of them, but take so long having to get rid of those 2 totems and then re-get rid of them once again. It's one hell of a thing to have to deal with. As right now you are seeing a little bit of a struggle for that hit to come through onto Angels. It's going to be forced to go through Shat, which, as you mentioned, does not have a pallet to work with, as these dodges are trying to come through, but the very edge of that blast radius does end up clipping there, getting the weakened through, and now Angel's in a very awful position. It's just going to be running it all the way down to the one, the only, the comp corner.
Only so much you can do. I do have to say that this purple add-on, the one that increases your action speed after you teleport, that one is quite insane. It is a very good add-on. Going to Fun Bus, getting the hit with M2, Pallet goes down, Julian goes down.
Yeah, okay, incredibly quick down there. Well played.
That's Fun Bus and Shaq Pallets down at 1 gen left. Very intriguing.
Yeah, I mean, it's very early. That is going to be the pickup from the comp corner, and it's just going to be Angel sticking in it, trying to buy as much time as possible. Actually making quite a fair bit of distance here. Had a sprint burst kind of locked, loaded, and ready to go. Buys time to make it over here, but you'd love a pallet there if you were Angels, but unfortunately, Heaven's not really smiling on him today, not putting the pallet where he wanted it, and going to be put on a meat hook as a punishment for it. Looking around, there is going to be some extra gen pressure coming out. The Pentimento has been dealt with, but there is still a Ruin up as well. So again, it's a judgment call for the survivors whether they want to find that and get rid of it and then have to deal with the pentimento, or they're just going to stick through it, grit their teeth and wait. Considering how much good progress they've made with all of their survivors still alive, there is a good chance that they do just opt to bully the gens out.
That is a very real possibility, yes. With only one uninjured, with only one healthy, it's not the best circumstances to be going for an unhook against an unknown. Definitely not. And they do seem to be healing over there, or at least they were, and Jake finished healing. Yeah, there you go. Okay, all the survivors back at healthy. This unhook is suddenly far more feasible. And I hope they are also splitting pressure on those gens.
You'd like to think so. It would definitely help here as Twisby is going to be out here camping Angels through that second stage. Remember that the anti-camp feature not allowed in DBDLeague, so not going to be able to take advantage of that. Twisby takes advantage of those hallucinations to get around the map. Even setting one up on the high ground there, running the other add-on too, which is going to allow that faster movement speed after the teleport, just to kind of be a little bit deadlier, be a little more kind of rapid with it, create some chaos among the survivors. Actually going for the one unweakened survivor right now, and the weakened status is so odd with how you cleanse it. You get rid of it by looking at the killer, meaning that you can be in odd situations where, you know, you have to seek out the killer in order to, you know, get rid of that status effect, as that is going to be a double hit coming through now. No interest in getting Ultra onto a hook and getting that trade out there. Instead, just going to be working this one through onto Angels. Does have to wait out that endurance, but now gets another weakened. It was cleansed just in time by Angels at the very nick of time. It was gotten rid of. Going to be forcing over through into the map as well, TPing to that hallucination, which is in between the fun bus, and there's absolutely nowhere to go. Remember, the pallet was used here earlier. There is no life left here other than the Z-Wall, the strongest tile in the game, which, I mean, there's absolutely no way of countering the Z-Wall here, right? It's just not possible. It's just too much to bear for any killer to deal with, as Wisby does end up finishing it through. But that's 2 gens gone in the meantime, so very, very strong play from these survivors.
Yeah, very good stellar play coming out from the survivors here, like you said. And although, regardless of that, I do think Wisby can do a lot of good still. Finding yeah, that's Jake. Finding Jake, gonna see if they can hit Jake in the M2. It certainly looks like it's feasible. Yep, there you go. Injured. Teleporting to that for the speed bonus, and let's see, can Wispy get the down? It certainly is looking like such going down in the comp corner.
Yeah, almost certain. And now you have to think, well, how much pressure has been applied to these other gens with Julian and Ultra? When they are being forced off of them, this is where the Ruin gets a lot rougher, when you only have 3 survivors and you don't have that extra person to be able to keep pressure up on the generators. So, again, it is a decision that has been made. Now that you get here, you might want to think, well, is it time to start pressuring out that? And that's the long-range snipe coming through, and then the TP, 2 in front of Julian as well. Julian has absolutely nowhere to go, has been absolutely and utterly bamboozled right now. My God, that's a hell of a thing.
Yeah, and that leaves Ultra as the only man standing. But, at the very least, he is healthy, so something could happen here. Something has to happen here, or else the survivors are just gonna get wiped.
Yeah, you gotta make some kind of miracle play if you're Ultra right now. Again, being healthy will allow you to do one of 2 things. You can get the pickup or the unhook. You're not necessarily going to be that safe doing so, and Wispy has these teleports, has the UVX shot as well. Always has, you know, can pressure out a little bit further than they actually are, as that is a kind of wild strike coming through, but you got to go for those. You got to back yourself if you're Wispy right now. Actually, attention has drawn away. The survivors definitely know where the Ruin is now. Certainly must have been called out there by Ultra. It's going to be the decision of whether they want to be dealing with it now, but they have too many things to deal with. They have their friend on hook, 2 injured people. Wispy just sees this and thinks, okay, well, I can just kind of stick around here. Jake can die, no save can come through safely, and these gens are not really progress enough to warrant having to monitor them so closely as the Ruin is going to be going now, so the decision has come through to get rid of that. And Jake likely just going to be kind of camped to death now.
Yeah, I just was kind of surveying the area from that hill, because unknown M2. Finding Ultra here, I believe this will be a down. Very close to that pallet, but not quite. Jake is now dead, so that just leaves Julian injured and infected by themselves to go pick up Ultra, and it appears that Wispy has seen them, so it is not looking good for the survivors. It could very well be over shortly. Oh.
Yeah, looking at the 4K1 that is going to be coming through, some absolutely stellar unknown gameplay. I mean, like, look how handsome this killer is, right? You can't be too mad about trying to kill this handsome, right? Right?
Yeah, I suppose.
No comment, I guess. But yeah, absolutely phenomenal play coming out there from Tremor on the killer side here. And yeah, this is the build that has been settled on for the unknown, and it's getting results. We're kind of focusing in that you might get 4K1s, 4K2s, maybe, you know, 3Ks almost situation. It's relatively variable, but we are seeing a relatively high standard for this killer right now. And it is going to be the turn of Cynic next to try and match or beat this to win out this series. If there is a draw, then this set is going to be replayed until we do have a winner. However, that would keep us all here for quite a while. And it would be more competitive Dead by Daylight, which we all love, ladies and gentlemen. So we'll be seeing whether that ends up happening as well, as Ultra and Julian are just going to be very slowly but surely dying off here.
Yeah, I'm just kind of at a loss for words.
Okay. Well, alright, pertinent analysis being done there, as Wispy is just going to be securing the blood points in the endgame right now, exactly what you want to see. Julian and Ultra eventually going to be going the way of the Dodo. And yeah, the 4K1, the win condition set out very clearly for Wispy. This is, as we said, not that uncommon of a tie condition as well. If you're the survivors next up, you're thinking, okay, need to complete all of these gens to secure this series. So congratulations there. So congratulations there to Tremor for a pretty strong killer performance. Cynic, it's up to you now to win this one out. We'll be back after a very short break.
Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening, ladies and gentlemen. We are finally here again with yet another set of Cynic versus Tremor, this time with Ultra on the unknown. I do have to say that the last match has quite the condition to either win or tie against, frankly. So it will be impressive if the killer here can, or sorry, if the survivors here can manage to do better, considering it was 4 gens completed. But finding Bill here, that obliterated my train of thought, sorry.
Yeah, well, okay, well that was a very early clear onto the Undying there, and now we have both an injured and weakened Zaphis, which is so tough to deal with as the survivor. Not only do you have to worry about the regular M1, but also the M2 as well. You have no real window of opportunity. Ultra kind of realizes that, yeah, I don't even need to get this kill here right now. But that first gen is being done so quickly already, and Ultra instead is going to be forced to split pressure onto Horn right now, trying for a little bit of mind game. Sorry, not Horn, Wispy. Close enough, right? Able to get the weaken through onto that Jake, and then actually TP, force Jake over to the side of the map. Now, the generator over here has already been completed, so it's not going to be applying a whole lot of pressure out. But also, consider the fact this gen is being completed, even with the corrupt gens still being up. If you're able to get some decent gen progress as the survivors, despite the corrupted gens, then you're in for a pretty good match.
Yeah, that's definitely true. Taking a survivor away from Shaq now. Wispy is taking Ultra away from Shaq toward a Husk they can teleport to, and that is an M1. Very good Husk teleport. Going back to Shaq through the window. Let's see if Wispy can run Ultra for a while.
Attempt at the firecrackers there. Not quite getting the explosive impact that you would like to see, but it works anyway. Wispy is going to be injured up, and that's going to be an M2 trying to go onto Haunt, but Ultra just simply hasn't been hitting these M2s as much as you need to on this killer. TP out on the side, but can just force Ultra back into this pretty good path. Still will end up slow vaulting that window, does get hit with a weaken. For their troubles right now is Horn. Ultra now in a little bit of desperation trying to scout out the map. Still has the Ruin up for that kind of passive regression, but doesn't have the Pentimento. The corrupt gens are now gone, and just going for a bit of a Hail Mary shot right now is Ultra, and that seems to kind of be the plan right now. Go for these Hail Marys because you have had a pretty rough early game. Not a single hook yet. Survivors have completed a gen through the corrupt, and you're being ran around even more. Haunt has now cleansed the weakened effect, so this chase is going to take even longer. This is a rough position for Ultra to have to work with. Definitely a position of weakness that he's bargaining from.
It most definitely is, but that's nothing he can't come back from, landing the M2 on Haunt and being taken to the Fun Bus now. I don't actually know how this character plays Fun Bus. Are they any good at it?
We'll have to see. Clearly, we'll have to see right now, you know. Ultra, where on a good day, can be doing it. It does actually seem like the Survivor took the hit there to not have to deal with the Fun Bus, and oh, that's disgusting. Haunt has chased for so long. 1, 2, and any second now, we're going to have the third gen popping as well. Unless maybe Ultra was able to pressure that one out just by virtue of being near to it with the Ruin. But, God, this gen progress has been immense from the Survivors. And still, not one hook has come out. A couple more injures, the pressure is piling up, but hooks is going to be what wins you the game on the killer roll. And that was a quick vault there. Beautiful bit of looping from Wispy, cleansing the weakened Satisfact as well. Sometimes, you know, if you're Ultra here, sometimes you might just realize that your arms are just too short to box with the gods that are these Survivors.
Yeah, maybe a little bit. I mean, they're almost at 5 gens completed already. And only one Pentimento, no hooks still. It's just not looking good for Ultra, period, right now. It's really not. I don't think he comes back from this, really.
Yeah, Tremor is absolutely doing insane right now. Now, finally, that's Wispy going to be going down in the sun. Well, that's a beef. Minus Rep and Jar's profile, throwing my game. What are you doing, Renato? Hate you, by the way. Haunt and Zaphis are doubling up on the gen in Shaq. There is no 3 gen to work with right now. There is the Ruin and the Pentimento up. So progress on this gen is going to be slow, to say the least. Whether Survivors want to do anything about that? Well, yeah, they are going to be getting rid of the Pentimento. So no longer having to deal with the 30% slowdown, but will still have to deal with the passive regression. They are going to have to deal with that as Zaphis is chased off here. And this is kind of this portion of the map wasn't even really used all that much earlier. No pallet in this 4-lane. Never mind, I forgot how 4 lanes work. 12Gs. There was a pallet, it just simply wasn't played phenomenally well right now. But if you're Ultra, you can't even commit to that. You have to try and go for this tunnel out. You need your 4K, and the best way to start doing that is to get rid of that one player nice and quickly. And that is 2 downs, actually, in pretty close proximity to each other. But Zaphis getting up. Not sure if that was a pickup. Yeah, it was a pickup from Jar, able to help out Zaphis there. And now, again, this central gen going to continue to apply the pressure.
Yeah, I mean, maybe down, but not quite out yet. 3 people infected and 1 person down. Wispy has gotten up.
0 people down.
Yeah. Zaphis going down again, chasing Jaw. Oh, goes for the ambitious swing because he thought he was going to stay on that pallet. Oh.
Yeah, eventually it's going to be forcing Jar out, but that's the adrenaline, that's the gen, and that is the win. Horn was on this central gen the entire time, and ladies and gentlemen, hell of a match, hell of a performance, but that is going to be Tremor taking the series 2-1. I mean, at the end of the day, I feel like Tremor's Survivor game was just phenomenal.
Yeah, they were on their A game with the survivors today. They were also doing well with their killers, but a special shout out to the survivors today. Just absolutely phenomenal performance from them.
Yeah, and we're also going to be looking at this escape right now. It really doesn't matter for the rest of these players, to be perfectly honest. The series is won, the game is won. They can go home, they can celebrate whatever they would like to as they gain another win in our season here today. And you can't, for Ultra, you just have to feel kind of bad because it was such a rough early game to have to deal with, and even showing a couple of signs of brilliance at the very end didn't mean a damn thing. So again, very fair play to both of these sides, but Tremor going to be winning it out today. Even with these stylish hits that Ultra's getting, don't mean a damn thing.
Yeah, again, just phenomenal performance from Tremor's survivors today. And although the freaking Cynic killers did try their best, ultimately, I believe the Tremor survivors were just cracked out of their minds today. There is no two ways about it.
I mean, if you recall that Blight series, who the hell plays against Blight and leaves with only one of their players dying and only giving them 3 stages? That is absolutely absurd gameplay. Like, they are winning these matches on the Survivor side without a shadow of the doubt. You know, not to discredit Tremor's killer performances, they have been stellar as well. I mean, we did also see on the Blight a 4K with 3 gens remaining on that kill side, but again, the game was already won very early on there. So just some phenomenal gameplay from Tremor. Definitely a team to keep an eye on.
For sure. Just kind of waiting for this game to end, but it looks like Jaw might go down soon, being infected and in deep wound. Yeah, just gonna go to the corner. Wispy has gotten up. Zephys is still down.
Hey, no man left behind, right? No man left behind. I guess that's what Tremor are going for here, as this is going to be a safe pick onto the pallet. That is going to be a safe pick onto the pallet right there. Some very strong gameplay. That is going to be a pickup onto Jar right now. Again, these Tremor survivors, they're still fighting here. They don't have to. They've secured the win already. But you take the mental warfare where you can. And I guess that seems to work out. Again, the Unknown is just such a fascinating killer to watch. Not only because of its general design and just how, you know, strange and odd and creepy the entire concept and of the killer is, but also the gameplay, these bounce shots, which can often be, you know, a bit chaotic to have to deal with. Firecracker for fun there, just partying at the end there. But also because of the teleports and the chaos that can ensue with the killer.